Hello everybody, this is Paul Humiller at Dream Guitars, and this is a Stefan Sobell guitar from the year 2001. It would have been around the time that I first went to England and met Stefan Sobell. I was hanging around with Martin Simpson at the time, the great British guitar player, English guitar player, and he of course at that time was playing exclusively Sobell guitars for the most part. He had a number of guitars, but his Sobell was his baby. And I had the chance to go over there and visit and actually stay at Stefan Sobell's place. He has a really beautiful shop on a dairy farm in North Hexham, England, and just a very cool place. And his shop was in an old schoolhouse. It's a stone, I believe it was a one-room sort of schoolhouse with mostly all hand tools. Aside from a bandsaw, everything else was done by hand. And Stefan, his guitars are really unique. If you've ever listened to Martin Simpson or Daryl Scott, you've heard the Sobell sound, and they're very clear, the clarity, and just really beautiful. The melodies really sing out. That's sort of Stefan's thing, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I met Stefan, as I've said, and I asked him, what sort of sound he was chasing, and he really liked the sound of some of the old Martin arch tops from many years ago. They were not known as great guitars necessarily, but they did have this tremendous clarity because of the arched top. So what Stefan came up with in his own way was this sort of radiused top and back. So there's a much more of a radius than a typical flat top guitar. So there's still very much a flat top steel string, but the design and the goal is different. What he's trying to do is control the bass response and make sure the trebles are really strong and have enough room to be heard because the bass isn't overpowering it. So kind of just the opposite approach of, say, a dreadnought guitar where you're trying to get lots of bass. So they have plenty of bass, but it's different. It's more sort of a controlled bass response, and the trebles are really strong. So that's sort of the Sobell idea, in my opinion. I played a Sobell for years. Actually, a Model 1 like this was my main guitar many years ago for a while. So I know these guitars pretty well. Really musical, really inspiring sound to me. Greg really liked this one too. He plays all of these before we record them, and this is one of his favorites. Anyway, so let's give it a look. I already showed you the side and the radius, but here it is. It's basically an OM size guitar. It's a Model 1, what Stefan calls it. This one has a cutaway. I love his cutaway. It's just got a European flair to it. Again, Stefan is from England. He's actually German, but lives in England and has forever, I believe. Really nice German spruce top. And his bridge is unique. I've had several, sort of famous repair people tell me they really like the mass of his bridge. What he's done with his design is get the mass to a place where it really activates the top well, for what that's worth. You've got some really nice, this is what he calls bird's foot, sort of trim around the outside. Ebony fingerboard. Great playability on this guitar. This comes from a friend of mine who is a longtime Sobell fan and great player. I love the headstock shape of the Sobell guitars. Goto gold tuners on this one. His neck shape is a bit slender. It's like a D, but kind of shallow, so very easy to hold neck as well. This one has, again, the pin on the treble side of the neck, which I like a lot, as long as the neck can handle it. That's a great place for a strap button to make it comfortable. And this is Cocobolo, which a lot of Stefan Sobell's guitars are Brazilian. The one good thing about this is we can ship this anywhere in the world. So if you're overseas and always wanted a Sobell guitar, we can ship this one to you. Cocobolo has no restrictions yet. So, and then he's got these beautiful, just slightly colored purfling lines on the whole guitar, which are really elegant. And this one has a Highlander IP1 pickup system in it. Stefan was a big fan of the Highlander pickups, and that's of course what Martin Simpson used. And it's a great pickup. It's under saddle, but it really works well. It's an interesting technology that Bob, who created Highlander pickups, told me he got from nets they would use underwater for marine surveillance. There was these big nets they would make out of this material to find submarines and things, and that's where this actually comes from. So it's really interesting how things become part of the guitar world. So 2001 Stefan Sobell Model 1. Let's give it a spin.